So, here we go. If you got any questions, now would be the time to sort of answer. And sorry that recording, but I'm looking through manuals. That's my case ones, and trying to determine on what this. So we're looking through some good old Ford manuals for the 7610. So update on projects. All right. So initially, we've got what projects have we got on? We've caught up on most jobs in Stanley. We've got a load of buildings to move, then a few fences to do, and then after we've done that, the buildings that we're moving are, I think they call them wise plans. So that trailer that I was towing behind the 7610, which is 2 Portakabin bases, our plan is to actually modify it slightly and then have it so that the wheels go underneath the cabin, because at the moment the Portakabin trailer that was used, that my old man made back in the day, that was used for moving Portakabins from a place called Kelly's Garden, which was originally over at Blue Beach, set up over there. And when they moved to go to the military base, which is now MPA or MPC, Mount Pleasant, they had a load of Portakabins that they sold off to the local community, which they then the farmers had to come up with a way of moving them. So they tried sleighs, they tried attaching wheels to them, but going over the camp made life a little difficult. So Dad come up with this idea of a Portakabin trailer, which actually used a Portakabin base split into a V, and then you slid on the Portakabin onto there. Put 2 bolts in the front, and away you go. If you've got any questions while we're talking, just fire away. Even questions about the Falklands, if I can answer them, I can. My knowledge on some of the history of the Falklands isn't the best, but I can see what I can do for you. So we're making another trailer so that we can tow it along the road without having to get a police escort going down the road, because that just seems like it'd be a bit too much of a challenge, and we'll sort of go from there. The other thing that we got on is I've got to build a hard stand out of the plot with the 7610. Now, the 7610 that I got. So here's another little interesting chat for you. 7610 that I've got. I'm trying to do this off my phone. I don't know how long it's going to work until I drop you. Yeah, not very well by the looks of it. So the 7610 that I got originally was from a company in Mount Pleasant called PSA. So it basically worked in the sewer systems of the military base of using a tanker, a shit tanker, or a slurry tanker, or whatever you want to call it. It's only got 3,500 hours on the clock. So I put a post on Facebook and querying about the gearbox on it, because obviously it's a column change. It's still an H pattern, but it's a column change, not the Rubik's Cube type. And someone went along and basically said that by the looks of the tractor, and if the gearbox is popping out of high, it's buggered, you shouldn't use it. Well, being that it's only got 3,500 hours on the engine, and the engine has been changed to I think it was a Sparex bottom end short block, and so it didn't really make sense to sort of strip it. Like, everything works on it, 4-wheel drive, apart from the alternator. It turned out there was an electrical block that wasn't connected, which sort of makes you feel like a bit of an idiot when you're doing stuff. But I just didn't think that the block would be disconnected. But hey ho. But we were going to change the alternator anyway, because the bearing in the other alternator was a bit dodgy looked. So nothing too bad. So the downside to her is she does pop out a high range, and so when you're driving, and even without a load, she'll pop out. If you're in 7th or 8th at a high speed, she's not too bad. She thingies. So at the moment I'm going through the book, and the downside to it is we're gonna have to take the cab off to get to it. We can't do it with the cab on in place. This will probably be my last live feed that I do as well. I feel like I get more views from shorts than I do other videos, and I'm not really sure what sort of videos you guys are really interested in. Whether you're interested in the tractors and the machinery and what I get up to, or what it is, but just go for gold and let me know. So yeah, we basically got to take the top of the gearbox off, and we're led to believe, or we think what it is. I've had it happen to a tractor that had the floor change one, little ball in there that holds the selector. They stick or jam, and potentially can cause that problem, which we're putting down to that is probably the problem of this one. And sadly, the books I've got all the H pattern on the floor, but not synchromesh. There we go. So yes, she is synchromesh as well. Can you hold it in gear? Or can you hold? Yes, I can hold it in gear, and it doesn't take much pressure to hold it in gear. So, like if I'm driving along the road and in 7th or 8th, I can cruise along at any speeds until I hit a hill and go to open her up, and she will then work her way out. But I literally can hold it with my little finger in place. Like it's not bad. So I'm hoping that means that it will be the thing. But we will have to look into that, obviously. But I was contemplating on whether putting a like a strap or something on it, maybe, but don't really want to. But I have found a book of where it's all connected into, all the pages, and I don't really know what exactly I'm aiming for on this one. I do know that we're probably going to end up having to move the cabins from Stanley, which I know it sounds a bit Irish, not taking a piss out of the Irish, by the way, but we're picking up the cabins from Stanley, driving along an asphalt road for about 2.5 hours at 15 miles an hour, which is normally about 45 minutes. Yeah, it doesn't sound too serious. Well, that's what we're sort of contemplating anyway. We're hoping not too serious. We have got to change the clutches in the dual pack. That's something that we have got to do. So the dual power pack, when it's in the tortoise, it will slip, but when it's in the hare, it doesn't. So we are going to be splitting the tractor and getting into the guts of that at some stage. But yeah, for the gearbox side, I don't think it's going to be nothing too seriously, and it hasn't got enough hours on it for me to really concern me too much. So the other 7610 I got, that's out on the farm, she had a gearbox change. She originally had a creeper gear in it, and she originally belonged to a company called FLH, which is Falkland Islands Land Holdings, which was brought down here in '83, I think it was, brand new. And she's done 9, I think she's 200 hours off going right around the clock. So she's done 9,800 or nearly 9,000, just over 9,500 hours. Dual power is on a switch, so it's just below the, would it be the light switch? Because on the opposite side is the 4-wheel drive switch. And when you flick it, you'll feel it go, but it only seems to do it in 7th or 8th. If you do, I don't know if dual power only works in 7th or 8th. I'm sure on my dad's old 5610, it used to work in all of it, but maybe not. Maybe it's only in 7th and 8th, potentially. But I do know that it was handy using it, but sadly it doesn't want to work. But it does work in high. It could also be a hydraulic problem. Like it may just need a good service on the back end and everything changed. At the moment I haven't had time to get around to doing it. I am literally flat out. This is about the only time that I've had just to sort of chill out and relax, because I'm on first flights tomorrow. So I'm going to Fi Gas, which is our local ferry taxi plane service thing. I've showed you pictures of the Britain Normandy planes that we use. I think I'm flying on Mike Charlie. So I leave at 9 o'clock tomorrow, and then I'm heading to Pebble, dropping off passengers, and then heading to... Okay, so it's meant to work on all gears then. Well, that's what I thought. So now it contemplates on why. Well, I guess if you're in a lower gear, you're using more torque, I guess. So maybe if it's going to slip, it will make it slip a bit better. I don't know. I do know that no one down here to date, or that I know of, that's actually had a dual power pack part. So it's something that no one's really got into as such. So it's sort of just what I'm sort of looking into as well, as I don't actually know what I need. I know it sounds really silly. I have got a book with a load of part numbers in it, but I don't know whether I need any special fancy kit tools or whatnot, and go from there. It is, according to the book, it's telling me to pull sprockets and gears and all that apart. Well, I know that I'm sure that the gears would just pop out in one. Freaking clutch release bearing removed. This is proven to be quite difficult. I don't normally read books, just to let you know. Normally I just pull shit apart and work it out, but being that I quite like this tractor, it's nice to drive. So I've got some steering bushes coming down for it, so the steering under the right underneath the radiator is worn on this one, and they're slightly worn on my other one, but they're not as bad. This is quite bad. So I've got new bushes and pins coming down, and I have to thank a company that I get my tractor parts for my counties from. They don't normally deal with the 10 series, and sort of had to beg a little bit, and they're sort of going to send it to me, because they'll send it down by air for us. Getting companies to send stuff by air down here is just shocking. The other thing is, when it comes to projects, I'll let you all know now. So the 754, I've started that, would it be 5 years ago. As you know, I got the engine rebuilt, sitting in my shed for it. I've got all the steering for it sorted. I think the only thing I've got to get is a steering box seal, but I got all that sorted. Front axle's all rebuilt, back end's all rebuilt. I've nearly just about got everything now just to sit it together. I've got to split the gearbox off it though and change the PTO input shaft on it, and then she's all ready to put together basically. What I don't have for it is all the bodywork, mud guards, foot plans, seat, wiring harness, and the prop shafts. My prop shafts that were on it I sent to a company called A.T. Osborne in the UK. If you deal with county tractors, you will know them. Highly recommended for their county parts, being that they sort of basically took on the county sort of job really, so the parts that you get are pretty dang good. In fact, I can't fault them. Just really good. You're guaranteed when you get them they're going to fit. And the chap that I talked to called Mark, which is the owner of the business, he knows just about every part of a tractor possible. So even if I don't have a book or a part number, I can send him a picture and say, look, this is the model of the tractor, this is the bit I need. He knows exactly what I need and what I'll need to get the job done. Okay, that's quite interesting, Jumbo. Yeah, there's a few companies now starting. The only thing I really struggling to look for, so prop shafts for the county is the hard one. I can get them, they're just a little pricey at the moment, and funding for me isn't the easiest. So I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous video. So we done our shearing in January, made sure our wool was ready. Our wool didn't get away on the MOD boat, which is the military boat, and basically we've now been 9 months with no income coming in. So the money I've been making is basically the jobs I've been doing around town. Also, for when we do projects and we get stuff, I've got to sort of make sure it's worthwhile in doing it. So for me to buy a set of prop shafts from a county that's not actually running at the moment isn't really justifiable. And second of all is that I just don't have the time. So I since I've come back from Sea Lions, this is about the only day that I've actually had easy. I've been working up to 12 to 14 hours, and that's between the tractor and the truck. In my little Fuso truck, the poor little truck, in I think it was 4 days, 4 days, 5 days. Oh no, wait a minute. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in about 7 days, I'd done 1,200 miles. And I don't know whether any of the viewers have been down here, but the roads are not the best in the wintertime. They're made up of a rocky sort of clay, and they turn to shite basically. So yeah, it was just, yeah, fun. But we took out 2 lots of fuel for the farm, a tank, took some batteries out, then took some cargo out. Then I had to bring in some sheep manure for a job. Can't remember what I did, but yeah, we were pretty. So the reconditioning is, well, yeah. So I sent them over with a Rolls Royce. It's the last Rolls Royce, and a proper Rolls Royce. I can physically say I was the last one in it because I worked for the company that loaded it into the container at the time. And my prop shafts got sat underneath and strapped, literally screwed to the floor and strapped underneath the car. So I think the container could probably roll around and the car would bounce around, but these props were never going anywhere because we used those little metal straps things screwed into the floor. When they got over there, they were that rusty and rotten that the circlip that holds UJ in was gone, and it was flush with the cup of the actual thing. The actual shafts themselves were that badly pitted. I did say to them that I don't know if they'd be able to do anything with them, but they've managed to salvage as much off it as they can, and hopefully are going to salvage enough. So they're not going to be like completely new prop shafts, but they're going to be functional. And I'm not into a showpiece bit of kit. I'm into a piece of kit that is going to work. It's going to go out in the field, make a bit of mud. We have got the Super 4 still, which I've got out in the yard at the moment. So the 7610's out at my mum and dad's plot, and the Super 4 is heading out there soon, but at the moment she is right down in the driveway, rearing and ready to go. I will do also for you, I'll also do a talk on that, my other half Shogun as well, or Pajero I should say. It's a 2.8 Pajero. Can't remember the year that it's made in. It's had its engine changed in. As good as Pajeros are, they're prone for having their injector pumps play up. And instead of changing the injector pump, we changed the engine. It was easier. Well, the garage changed the engine. I physically didn't have time to do it, and it's like my Rover. Guttingly, I had to book my Rover into a garage to get the brakes done, and a couple of UJs changed. And normally I do them myself, but sometimes you just got to go with the flow and do what you can when you can. As you can see out the window, there's the Sea Pig, the boat. Never owned a boat before in my life. Managed to get a hold of that one. It is a great tractor. Sadly, the great tractor that it is, its steering's still a pain in the ass, and so is its brakes. So if I go backwards, it doesn't. Its brakes don't free. They sort of just jam on, and you got to go forwards to release them. And then if you go backwards, they basically do the same thing. So I'm hoping my Wi-Fi won't go. So Wi-Fi around here is pretty dodgy. So you got to stay pretty close to your house. So if I cut it off, I will come back onto the line as soon as I can. But here's the Super 4 anyway. But it's, yeah, don't look at the lights. They're not original. We had to put them on for a job, and I needed lights on the front, and the bulbs are blowing on the other ones. Couldn't get any bulbs, so we had to improvise. So we did. The other thing with this one, this isn't an original engine. It's actually got a late major engine in it, so she's a little bit underpowered, probably. But she's got the throttle linkages going through the block, but she's still got all the levers and everything connected on. But this steering system is off the Agraline kits that was modified to go in there, as you can see. So it was modified, and it works really well, apart from I need to get a new shaft for it, it's starting to get pitted. But what doesn't work really well is that, probably my own fault, but I converted it to an alternator because the dynamo packed up. And as you can see, we've had to put a smaller belt on it, which seems to work all right. Connected up to it, or the proper power steering system for it. Major. But yeah, we had to take the Jules to get her on the truck. She's 9 foot wide, I think it is, with the Jules on. So we had to take. We've also got the tow hitch off. At the moment, we're in the process of putting that back on. I had to take it off to run the rotavator on for the prop shaft, which is a bit of a pain in the ass too. Having to take the tow hitch system off just to run your PTO for the. It's just not great. So yeah, we broke one of these. So this is an old top link, category 1 top link that was modified. This is just another tie down point that was just modified to go in there. We don't normally use the arms for lifting very much, so she only normally has a transport box on and goes fencing, so we weren't really too worried. But yeah, there she is. She is getting a paint job this winter though. She's getting a complete sand down and a new paint job, and giving her a new fresh lease of life. So she's been sat here for about 3 days. And let's see if we can get her to start up. There you go, just for you, man. I do need another injector pump though. This one leaks diesel out of the vent. She runs. You gotta love that little noise. She starts every single time. She does have that point where she will stop, but that's actually nothing to do with the engine and nothing to do with the starter motor. It's to do with the solenoid underneath. The connection's underneath here. Hey, yeah, me too. Yeah, so the solenoid underneath doesn't put out as much poke as what it should. So it doesn't let the current through. If you actually bridge it, she'll crank over every single time. But sadly, I don't want to disgrace the company because I get bits from them, but Agroline's products aren't the best. But they were the ones that do send directly to me. So it's quite cold outside. We actually had snow today, land. We had a bit of snow this morning. Then we moved to caravan or another porta cabin for someone. I'm meant to be going into the small easy jobs, but I seem to be going into the big jobs. But yeah, getting back to the county. So I need to find a genuine or near as damn it solenoid for it, ideally. I don't really know. I was thinking about a solenoid off a winch, worn winch. They're quite heavy duty. They might do the job, but not really 100% sure. But yeah, other than that, I haven't really got too much more else to say. I could go and show you the backyard. Yeah, I've seen on the news that you guys have got nice weather. If you want to send it here, you can do. Well, actually, no, I don't know if I'd be able to handle that heat, to be fair. I think the hottest it gets here is about 21, 22 degrees. And that, to me, is too hot. Today, I think it's about 7 Celsius. I think it's about 7. Well, it actually feels a bit less than 7, to be fair. But, so here's the truck. And I've got some decking boards to put on there as a new deck, because this deck has now got a hole in it. We've got the 2 Discoveries, one up there that goes, needs a bit of TLC, and the case digger. Well, we're still waiting on the bits for that. And there's the jewels for the Super 4. But yeah, I quite like the nice warmer weather. It's more of the wind chill for us, though. I can imagine, especially up in Scotland, because you guys normally have pretty weather. It's pretty much the same as us. Your landscape's meant to be about the same. My uncle's up in Scotland. Uncle Mike, he flies a little Kickfox plane somewhere. I can't actually remember whereabouts he flies it. But he lives up there. He's lived up there since I've been, before I was born anyway. Meant to be going up and visiting him, but now I'm 31 and I still haven't gone, so don't know if I will ever head away, to be fair. I'm quite happy where I am, but then saying that, I do really want to take one of my own tractors to a nice big tractor show, so don't know which tractor I'd take, to be fair. If I got the 10 series going, if I take one of them, or the Super 4, or the Crawler, or the 754, or the 774, or maybe just fit them all in a 40-foot container and take as many as I can. The downside is the freight of sending a container over is about $5,000. So that's 10 grand I'd be spending on just taking a tractor to a show. So whether it'd be worth me doing it is a completely different thing, but I would like to go and see a show. I've had a few people go over to them and they reckon they're really good. So one day, Jane, one day. But yeah, the weather's meant to be nicer tomorrow. Well, meant to be. Hopefully it will be, because I would like to be able to get on the plane, get to New Ireland, and do the job. So I'm literally flying from as far east as I can go, which is where Stanley is. I am flying all the way as far west as I can go, basically just about. New Ireland's just on the other side of Weddell Island, so it'll be a nice long trip. So, but yeah, I don't know if there's any more questions, anything you want me to know, any upcoming videos that you got that you sort of want. I have got my GoPro and I am trying to do better videos, but at the moment the GoPro only works for like 30 minutes and then the battery goes flat. So I've got to get some more batteries ordered. And then I can do more videos of me actually working instead of me doing a chat at the end of what I've done. Saying that, you probably wouldn't have wanted to watch me do the alternator, because there's a bit of foul language come out of it, because there's one little bolt that was really hard to get, and then to find out that the connector block had been undone in a really awkward place made that quite interesting as well. So oh, we've got a helicopter flying over. You know, you get helicopters and planes flying over all the time, and you sort of just ignore them to a certain degree. But you're always wary when you know it's the medic one, especially in a small community, because you're always scared it might be someone you know. I think I missed it. Oh no, there it is. And it is the medic one. Let's just hope it's a training exercise. Let's hope. But yeah, so it's been quite a tough couple of months. I had one of my mates, he died in a boating accident. They were moving horses onto one of the island, and sadly it didn't go quite as well where it happened. And he, I don't know whether he died in the sea or if he died on the thing, but he was way younger than me. Didn't really deserve it. And it sort of opens your eyes up to things you've done all the time that you just don't think of at the time until something happens, and then it sort of opens your eyes up to think, well, damn, you know, if I was doing that, I would have done probably the same thing. So it makes you think twice now before you do something. Basically, I still like to do some silly things, you know, it's just where we are. But yeah, we tend to do things a little bit safer than what we used to, or try to anyway. But yeah, I've got nothing really else more to say. In the next couple of weeks, once we move these cabins, yeah, it is a bit sad. I feel sorry for his family, really, more than anything. Like, he was only young. He was, I can't remember exactly how old he is, but he's probably only about 25. If I think, he might have been only 2 years younger than me, 3 years younger than me, so it would have been about 28, 29, 27, 28. But his girlfriend that he had, like, he'd been with his girlfriend for nearly 8 years, 9 years, and or at least 8 years anyway, I would have thought. And they were just getting themselves all sorted, and yeah, it's tough. It's like when my uncle went. You know, I didn't spend a lot of time with my Uncle Neil. There is a video of him actually singing a song. He was very musically talented. Sadly, what we recorded him playing and all that wasn't his best, but then obviously he was only about, I think when that video was taken, 70 hours away from not being with us. So it is what it is, but you still capture that sort of, he enjoyed it sort of thing. My old man, he plays music. My aunt, she plays music. So now we play music in sort of memory of him sort of thing. I make a noise. I can't say I play music, but I do make a noise. I have a guitar, I have a keyboard, but I do it more for my kids because they're quite into it as well. I sort of went off music for a while. I went into more machinery-wise and plant-wise, and went into that sort of thing, and sort of forgot about music because I was always away from home. So when my little boy was born, I spent 2 weeks out on the road, and then I have every alternative weekend off, and then I'd spend that weekend out on the farm. And if my other half could get out, then she would, but if not, I wouldn't see no one for a couple of weeks, or nearly up to a month. And then would it be 2 years ago, just as COVID hit, I ended up going out to the farm. My other half had to work, so I ended up going out to camp for 9 months, which sort of in total didn't really get to see my other half for a while. The plus side is I had the kids with me, so it wasn't too bad. But then they come back into town. I think they come back in. I think whole thing was only about 3 months, but I ended up staying out longer, done all the electrics on the farm, all the wiring. Wish I'd now done all the plumbing, but sadly, I don't know if I did a video of the farm when it all frosted up, but we're now thinking about replacing the whole thing, altering things around. It is 2 porta cabins. It's not the best thing in the world, but you know, it is what it is. And yes, if you're wondering why I'm walking around, is because I'm one of those people that just can't stand around. I'm constantly on the move. My other half doesn't like it too much, but I physically, when I stop is when I plan on going to sleep, and then I wake up and then I carry on. So I'm always guddling with something. So in fact, one thing I'm guddling with, which I can show you, is because I've actually got it in the house, but don't tell the wife because she might get a little grumpy with me, is a 2 meter, an ICOM, an ICOM 2200H. I had on one of my tractors. No, we don't have ants down here. We have earwigs, but we don't have ants. So I'm trying to clean this out because it was in storage for a while. It still works, but I'm just cleaning it out. So I was scuttling with that for a while, and then got bored, so I sort of left it. No, I physically just I can't stay still. My little boy's the same, but they're trying to say that he's got this ADHD thing on it, and I don't agree in it in some cases. I do in some cases for some people. Like I know one little kid that they've put him on medication and he's fine. But for my little boy, he's likes to be kept moving, and my little girl's the same. Like you shut a little pup in a cage and then open the door about a day later, they're running around, jumping around. You know, that's basically what they're doing. They got energy. They need to burn them off. Like for us, when we were kids, we started school out in camp. So we'd do like half days out in camp with the traveling teacher or radio lessons. And then you had the rest of the day to burn your energy off. Now they go to school, they're stuck in school for half a day. And then your parents are working, like for my other half and I was working. Well, when I was out on the farm, you didn't have to. Times have changed a lot. So it's a tough one, but yeah, we just not a very still family, really. We're just always on the move. That and always doing other projects. I don't think it would be right for me to start one project and finish it in one foul swoop without starting at least another 3 projects. And then you've got to have those projects at least in your yard for 2 years before you start them. So like I've got those discoveries. Yeah, it is normal. Well, yeah, I try telling teachers that, but turns out they struggle to teach kids that are normal. They like the ones that are quiet and listen instead of answering back. Or as my little boy said, actually, I'm not going to repeat what my little boy said, but let's put it this way. He used words that should not come out of a child, and where he picked them up from, I don't know. Supposedly some other kid in the playground, but never mind. But no, yeah, the kids will be kids, and I think for like our kids as well, and a lot of other families like us, is that we can take them out to camp, and they're used to that freedom, and they're used to doing all that stuff. Well, if you get a city kid, they're used to the areas that they've been brought up in. Well, for us, our kids are used to running around on 8,000 acres, having motorbikes. Like my little boy gets in the digger, he uses a digger. He sits on the dumper with me, he sits in the tractor with me. Same as my little girl. My little boy's got 3 motorbikes and 2 4-wheelers, and my little girl sort of pinches his ones. But like they've got everything sort of thing that they could ever wish for. In fact, probably got more than what I had when I was a kid. But then they come to town, and it's like a complete switch over from one thing to another. You basically go from having everything to nothing, and to restricted to a 30 by 40 meter square bit of land. I think that's what I was asked. In fact, I think it's 39 by 40 meters. But yeah, it makes it a bit tough on that front. But other than that, it is what it is, and it's pretty good. But yeah, we'll see what goes on with that side of the front. But yeah, I don't know if I've got anything else to update you on. We'll be going to the farm in the next couple of weeks to redo all the plumbing, replace the boiler, move in the bathroom, re-alter in the house. Then we've got to do the cesspit tank, re-alter the cesspit tank, put all the drains in, do all that. Hopefully this summer too, we get a road to our farm. It's all been approved, so it's meant to be happening this summer. Then we're moving all the buildings over from Greenfield over to Corriedale. So there's about 13 to 14 moves in total, depending. I say 13 to 14 because one of them we may have to split into 2, but we're hoping to move it as one. So So that's all got to happen. I've got the truck, the Foden truck that I'm going to convert to a Hiab. That might be changing yet. I've just been told that there's another chap that's selling a truck, a Beavertail with a Hiab on. It is great news about the road. So my dad fought for that road for 15 years, and I fought behind the scenes. I fought for about 5 years and lost, and then I finally managed to get it. But from when the ball started rolling of me sending the first email to when they replied back was 6 months. So 6 month intervals from each email, and I had to do a 5, 10, and a 15-year plan. And I thought, I'm not going to get it, and they approved it. So it was a bit of a shock to all of us. In fact, it was really nice that the lady that helped me do the 5-year plan and get everything politically, she actually phoned me up and told me personally, and it was great. I haven't actually heard it from government themselves. I only seen it in the local paper that it was approved. So they hadn't actually emailed me to tell me personally that, oh, look, just let you know your road's been approved. This summer it's going to be happening. No, I had to go on their website and actually find it on their website to let them know. So, yeah, just a standard government thing, I guess. Forget about the little people until you need them. But yeah, the road's going to make big improvements. Then once the road's done, we'll bring over all the buildings. And then it's the plan of setting this small little shanty house with a shed on it, farm, to a full-blown settlement. And hopefully start getting things to progress on the farm front of running livestock. So we're running about 1,500 sheep on there, between 15 to 1,800. And we're going to improve up at the ewe flock. We're running about, I think it's between 450 to 550 ewes. But we're going to increase the ewe flock up to probably about, 1,500, get rid of all the wethers, and then we'll have about 1,000 ewes. Then you have a couple of young wethers, and then breed more lambs and send to the abattoir. And then we're going to also thinking about going into self-caterings and doing other fiddly things as well that might help us out. The business that I've set up in town of just doing small maintenance jobs and odd sods jobs, sort of things, jobs that no one likes to do, isn't actually doing too bad. You know, I'm not making £1 million off it. I'm not making much off it, actually, to be fair. But it's paying the bills and it's keeping us afloat. So I'm thinking about keeping that business, trying to keep that business running for as long as I possibly can, even in the future. So we're going to keep this business running for the next 5 years regardless, or 6 years, until my kids leave school. Might be a bit longer, actually, because my little girl's only 6. But anyway, and then we were thinking about shutting it down, but we're thinking that depending on how things go, we could probably work on a farm in the summertime, work in town in between, and more in the winter time. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but that's the plans at the moment. At the moment, I've got to sort this house out, so do mind the mess, because this is got to get converted to a toilet and bathroom, etc. And to do that, I've got to build a wall up here, and then I've got to knock through a hole in there, and then I've got to put a door in the hallway, and then this wall there has got to come down. And then this is the old kitchen, which is now used as a well, drying clothes and part office, really. But this boiler here has got to get ripped out and taken away. Before I mention it, there was a comment, I can't remember if it was on Facebook or if it was on YouTube, about when sheep are cut, what do we use? We use this stuff. So it's Systematic Cleaners, Violet, soothes and cleans, minor cuts and abrasions. We don't use this stuff as much as we used to. We actually now use iodine in a spray bottle normally, but if you're like in a vehicle and you need to sort something out, that's the other stuff you can use. Iodine is really better, but that's what we do. If you're not on the Corriedale site Facebook page, do get onto it. Up there is normally, unless I'm out on an island, I try and post at least one picture every day of what I've been up to. So if you're on there, then look for it. You can't miss it. Type in Corriedale Farm and it should come up, and it'll have the logo, GCF 1989 and all that lot come up. And if I remember, in the next video I put up, main video, I'll put a link in the description for everyone. Which I don't actually know what the main video is going to be. I'll try and do one when I'm out at New Ireland, so when I get back I can show you that place. But But yeah, anyways, I must let you go because I think I might have another job of collecting some cargo, and then I think I've got to get ready for the plane. Probably should really pack and get up. Can't really wandering around in circles. Like I literally have been wandering around in circles. You'd probably think I'm crazy, to be fair. I'm trying to think. Some other questions I've been asked over the times, and oh, 4 drives. I've actually got pictures of a 4 drive on my phone. So sadly, I can't post them. I'll show you. But in one of my videos, I will be putting a picture up. And a 4 drive. I was also given this book, which I put into the thing, which is the actual spare parts list for the 4 drive. Would have been nice to get a workshop manual, but spare parts list can also show you how things go together, if you know how to read them. I also got given this, Earth Movers equipment, Fordson Major instruction booklet, Fordson Major, Ford made in thingy bob, so probably not good for the lighting. Anyways, I must let you go because this is eating our megabytes up, and we pay via the megabytes, not via just a monthly charge. We literally pay, I think it's £150 a month for 50,000 megabytes, and once you use them, that's it. Yeah, literally, that's it. They cut you off. But you do get free internet between 12 and 6 p.m. at night, and that always stays active. You can add to your boost. You can get boosters on it, but that also costs a lot of extra money, so it pays not to do it half the time. I'm not really too worried if I use all the internet up, because I'm not going to get back probably until the beginning of the month, so depending. I might get back next Wednesday. But yeah. Anyways, we'll catch you later. Be cool, and yeah. I was meant to do a video of my straight pipe on my 7610. There's a guy on YouTube called Lord Muck, and he loves straight pipes. And because I bodge jobbed a Land Rover exhaust on there, I thought he might be interested in it. So I might have to do that for him. I might have to message him. But if you're not watching him, go and watch Lord Muck. He is awesome. But yeah, take care as well, dude. And we'll catch you the next one. Don't forget, if you want a Pacific video done on something, give us a shout. And we will get onto it. And this summer I'm trying to do as many videos as possible of actually showing how we're working, and not showing what we're going to do and then show you once we've done it. I'm going to try and show you in between of what we've done. But you've also got to all remember that this is not funded. This whole time that I do these videos, it comes out of my pocket. So sometimes I just can't justify the yeah, he's a good chap. So I can't take a lot of time out to do videoing, so I can only really do it when I'm actually doing stuff for myself as such, and when it's not stuck to him. But yeah, I've watched him for a while. And another one I like watching is One Lonely Farmer. I like him, and the reason why I like these people is that, to me, they feel genuine. They're not trying to cover anything up. They tell you how it is. And George Saunders is another one. I like watching them. They literally like take a camera with them on a trip, basically. Yeah, I just like watching those sort of things. Spend probably more time on YouTube watching things like that, or old starts of machinery, than I probably do, that I should be doing. But I also do a lot of research on YouTube, like if you need to do something. But I have learned one thing: there's not many videos of 7610s on YouTube, or the getting into the guts of a 7610. Like I was trying to look at how to do the king posts and all that on the 7610, and I couldn't find any. So when I do my one up, I think we'll have to focus on thing. Looks like you and I are subbed to just about every single one, same sort of guys, really. Trying to think of someone else. Can't remember. Oh, I got Sketch. Is it Squelch or Sketch? 185. He's rebuilding a dozer, SJ113, I think it is, that he's building. Caterpillar dozer. I like watching him as well. He's very, very detailed in what he does. And there's a lot of other people I like watching too. I can't remember the names on a lot of them, but they're genuine sort of people. They're just learning along. And I have a lot of respect for anyone that tries anything. It's like I tell my kids, I will help them out, but on the condition is they've got to try first. I don't help no one if they don't want to try. So, yeah, I watch him as well. Yeah, I find that a lot of people, if you're sort of subbed to someone you're watching on YouTube, it sort of puts it out. But I'm quite happy that my subs are coming up. And I don't know why, to be fair. I don't even know why I do the videos. Like most people overseas, they can get funding and sponsorships for doing videos. I don't get none of that. Who am I going to advertise to? The 3,500 people that's on this island that already knows me. So it makes getting income from YouTube very difficult. But you know, I don't do it for the money. I do it because I enjoy it, and it's like the work I'm doing. I collect the tractors and the machinery, not because I'm planning on selling them on and making money, because I want to keep them in the islands and I like the history that they got, and that's why I do it. So but yeah, anyways, I'll have to let you go, because if not I'm going to be late for picking up cargo. And in the next video we do, we will see if we can do a video on some maintenance on the 7610, because I got to go out there and put all of it back together that I theoretically haven't put back together, because we've still got all the side panels to put on. And we'll try and get some videos of me using the Chifferton digger, which is working but not working 100%. Seems like she's a bit underpowered. I don't know whether I put it back together and done something wrong, or whether the fuel lines I've put in are slightly pinched. But yeah, she seemed to be a bit underpowered, but she worked fine. So, but anyways, we'll catch you later. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Catch you in the next one.